Ah, it's been a while. Of course. Go ahead. Oh. Now there's a question I wasn't expecting. The once renowned Raiden Gokuden, comprised of 5 branches. Amenoma, Futsu, Ishin, Hyakume, and Senju. The art of forging practiced by these 5 clans was first taught to them personally by the almighty Shogun. Over time, the 5 branches diverged from one another as generations of bladesmiths honed and perfected their craft until they became. Most of the great swordsmith clans of old have since fallen into decline, and for a long time, only the Amenoma branch. But fortunately, Kaedehara Kazuha recently returned to Inazuma and took up the mantle of the Ishin art. Now, 2 clans remain. If my memory serves me right, you yourself were present when he forged the Ishin blade.
Oh yeah, we were! Paimon remembers that now. We learned a bit about the decline of the Raiden Gokuden then too. It seems like such a shame.
That, my friends, is a tragic tale. In fact, this was not made known to me for most of my life. All these years, I knew of those great clans' demise, but never the cause. Only recently, when the question was on my mind, he told me that, as we are both heirs to a branch of the Raiden Gokuden, there is no harm in telling you, but I must warn you. It is a dark, and the Raiden Gokuden were the targets of a murderous rampage by a vengeful bladesmith.
Vengeful? Why?
400 years ago, so I'm told, there was a catastrophic malfunction in Tatarasuna's furnace. One brave swordsmith heard the commotion and chose not to flee, but he rushed to the... Tatarasuna was home to a state-of-the-art forging and smelting operation in that day, and overseeing it was the armory officer. His surname was Niwa, though he had family ties to the Kaedehara. Knowing that they had just one chance to save countless lives, Mr. Niwa and the swordsmith leaped together into the furnace. The furnace quickly stabilized, but the smith's death, though heroic, dealt a devastating blow to his family's fortunes. His orphan son was left to fend for himself, and grew up deeply resentful at the war. In his heart, the whole of Inazuma was culpable in his tragedy. He hated the almighty Shogun for her apparent indifference towards his father's death, and he hated everyone who had done nothing to try and save him. Powerless and destitute, the only legacy he had to pass on to his children was his hatred. Generation after generation bore this. Alas, if only the story could have ended there. But 100 years ago, the then head of this family reached the end of his wits. He made a drastic decision to take revenge on the Raiden Gokuden. In doing so, he sought to vent his pent up anger and shake the very... In his fury, he murdered indiscriminately, killing even bladesmiths from the Hyakume clan which he belonged to. His goal was absolute, the devastation. But when he came to the Kaedehara and Kamisato clans, his killing spree came to an abrupt end. He failed to catch them unawares. They fought back fiercely, and they did not spare his life. That is why the Kaedehara clan and their Ishin art survived that day. I suppose they were the lucky ones.
Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
Kazuha? Why, yes. Just yesterday, in fact. My pleasure.
Don't tell Paimon. places you want to visit too, right? Your expression says, on to the next stop! Lead the way, traveler! Paimon will be right... We're here! This is the Yashiro Commission's headquarters, so...
Traveler! It's been a while. If you're looking for the Commissioner and Miss Kamisato, I'm afraid your timing is unfortunate. They're not...
Are they out on business?
The Commissioner is out on business, and Miss Kamisato is standing in for some meetings in the Commissioner's place. If it's urgent, you're welcome to wait inside until they get...
What do you think? Shall we go in?
If it were anyone else, I couldn't allow it. But seeing as you're so close with the Commissioner and Miss Kamisato...
We'll be heading in then. Thanks!
Hello, dears. Is there something you want to say? Of course, traveler. Yes, I know who you are. Miss Kamisato has told me about. What would you like to know? Oh, they're both very well indeed. Lately, Miss Kamisato, as for the Commissioner himself, well, you know, busy as ever. That much hasn't changed.
So pretty much business as usual in the Yashiro.
Very much so.
Well, got any more questions?
You're very welcome. In fact, I would love nothing more. Miss Kamisato talks about you all the time. She seems so thrilled to have you as a friend. I must say, many things in Inazuma seem to have taken a turn for the better since you arrived here. I mean it. Whenever the Commissioner dines at home, Toma always joins him. I always thought the Commissioner has such a busy schedule that he doesn't always have the chance to take his meals at home. But given the opportunity, they say it's because Toma is a much better chef than most. They get to talking about you sometimes too, you know. Always with a very fond tone. Miss Kamisato occasionally joins them as well. Whenever it's been many years now since the late Mr. As someone who is old and gray enough to have watched their son and so... In the future, if you ever do have the time, please know you are always very welcome at the Yashiro Commission headquarters. Wonderful. Thank you.
Paimon likes it here too! Also, you were saying something... Paimon's itching to try it. We may just have to invite ourselves around for dinner sometime. Paimon meant we should come pay a visit.
Of course. You're always welcome.
Alright, goodbye for now. Where are we going next? Great! Goodbye, ma'am. Don't worry, we'll see ourselves out.
All right, then. Take care now.
Oh, are you two leaving already?
Yep, everything's taken care of now. Don't worry.
Very well. Safe travels. Goodbye.
Do my eyes deceive me, or is that the Traveler and Paimon?
Xavier, what are you doing here?
I was in the general area, and now I'm in this specific area. There, that's me.
We have some questions and thought you might be able to help.
Certainly do. I've researched the furnace here in some depth. If there's anything you want to know, just ask away. Like the back of my hand? Make no mistake, I have been. Not only that, but I've met people in Inazuma whose families used to live in Tatarasuna years ago. They said it's all true, the history here. Oh, well, it's a long story, don't you know? The tale of Tatar... I'm told that its history is one of the most foremost forging and smelting operations in the nation. Goes back around 1,000 years. Still,
A couple? When exactly?
One was just in the last few years, the other was several hundred years ago. A fun fact, I'm not the first Fontaine tech guy to come and work on it either. There was a guy back then, too. They say he was a mechanic who consulted on a technology upgrade. It seems like the technological collaboration between our two nations goes back a...
Hey, weren't you gonna ask Xavier something about Tatarasuna? Come on!
Oh, I didn't realize you two were here for a history lesson.
Me neither. Paimon doesn't know what's gotten into this.
What brought this on? Did you just wake up today with a sudden burning desire for historical knowledge? Sure, go ahead. A kabuki mono? No, I can't say that I do know the word. Inazuman for those eccentric types who always go around dressed to the nines. Just the sort of person that I'd like. But sadly, I've never had the pleasure, nor have I come across anything to do with a kabuki. Of course! Don't mention it.
Oh, we're leaving? Okay, bye, Xavier.
Oh, you're most welcome. More than happy to help. Farewell.
Looks like you got all the information you're looking for. Sure, but what's up with you today? Keep your smile, Spinal Crocodile. No matter what happens, Paimon will always be there for you. Hey, don't mention it. All right, let's head off and go meet Nahida.
Hey, it's them!
Akaba, Sawada, you're still here?
Indeed we are. If you have a moment, we'd love for you to join us once more.
We have time. What do you want to talk to us?
It's the same topic we discussed last time.
Still looking for more info about Tatarasuna, huh? Should we do it?
Unfortunately, we haven't made any real progress. Huh? Oh, of course.
I presume you'll want to read mine as well.
Well, what do you think?
Hey, Traveler. Remember how last time Akaba was saying how he wished he could gather more information about all this? Well, we just got back from Inazuma.
What did you find out? Something...
It's a long story. Basically, we have some friends...
Wow. So many new details. Thank you so much for...
Well, well. So it all comes down to one man's desire for revenge. Huh. You heard this from a member of the Amanoma clan, you say? Then I guess... Ugh. So there's no ghost story here after all.
This new information actually lends further credence to my hypothesis. Evidently, swordsmiths were seen as having an incredibly prestigious role in society.
Yes, okay, point taken, you were right. But that doesn't mean I can't carry on with...
And they're back at it. These guys are really...
Oh, so sorry. Look at us, prattling on about our projects and ignoring you.
You're welcome. See ya.
Keep us in the loop if you find out anything else.
Will do. Nahida, we're here. Traveler, Paimon, how have you been? Ugh, where to start? Paimon hasn't had a moment's rest this whole time. That night, we ended up chatting and chatting until suddenly the sun was up. And then he decided he wanted to go to Inazuma. The Balladeer? It sounds like... You look troubled. Is there some... Traveler? Hey, what's wrong? You look so upset. That's quite a story. So, this puppet known as the Balladeer erased himself from Irminsul, hoping that he could change the past. But how was he even able to... As the Traveler said, he very nearly became Sumeru's deity. Admittedly, I remember it a little differently. Nevertheless, it does make sense. If someone were to successfully erase themselves... So, you believe this person really existed, and we just don't remember him because... Well, because he literally changed... Yes. Theoretically speaking, it is possible to do this. But I'm struggling to imagine the kind of person who would dare... The Traveler comes from a world beyond to that. That's why there's no information about him in Irminsul, and it also explains why any changes to Irminsul wouldn't affect him. So if there's anyone in the world capable of retaining memories from a past that has been rewritten, it's you. It's quite incredible when you think about it. Paimon's having a hard time understanding this balladeer guy's motivations. Why did he do it? I can only make inferences based on the information we've been given. As for what kind of person he was... Something else worrying you? Something that you can't share? It couldn't change the fate of the ones who had died, right? Once the balladeer realized he hadn't been betrayed after all, it must have completely changed his view of the people of Tatarasuna. He couldn't keep hating humans after that, and if he thought there was a chance he could save his old friends, the story makes sense, every part of it. The balladeer tried to achieve godhood with the doctor's help. He was unsuccessful, but retained the power to... That power then enabled him to change what was recorded in Irminsul and erase himself, even though he didn't have much strength left. Yeah, it does make sense, but it still ended in tragedy for his friends. It just feels so hopeless. He gave everything to do this, but... Please wait a moment. I want to... Found it. This should be the one. It turns out that I have a strange way of confirming everything he has told us. What is it? A record from a personal collection. It was tucked away in a corner. You should take a look. Is this a fairy tale? Who wrote it? I authored this record myself. Huh? You wrote a fairy tale? When combined with the traveler's narrative, it's clear that this story is an allegory. Everything... Hold on. So this record survived from the past? Yes. Any information about the balladeer or the kabuki mono and other records will have been changed. But I wrote this story in a way that means it was left intact. Changing the information in Irminsul changes to that. But Irminsul can't change information that was well hidden in advance. I guess I must have written this story as a... That's incredible! What a great idea! And sending the traveler into Irminsul with the balladeer must have been a further precaution. I knew he'd remember everything. This story is abstract enough that it still resonates with the present information recorded in Irminsul. But if we connect all the different pieces together, the true story that emerges is the one he told us. But now There was once a lone monster draped in fox fur. The monster found a family of foxes, joined them, and they became friends. But once in a while, the monster would take off its fox fur at night and lament to itself as it gazed at its reflection in the water. I am a monstrosity, yet they are too foolish to see it. But the monsters soon found solace when another came to live among the foxes who was not their kin. A kitten, carved from the wood of a white tree who had been abandoned by the humans. The kitten too wished to become a fox, but its tail was too slender and it could not grow a coat of richly colored fur. Yet when the other foxes saw this, they spoke words of comfort to the kitten. Furious at this happy resolution, the monster lit a fire on the mountain. The terrified animals panicked as the fire spread. A gray fox stood up and addressed the monster. It said, "You are the cleverest among us." The monster smiled, led the fox toward the fire, and murdered it. The gray fox's heart was turned into a beautiful drop of water. The monster gave the heart of water to the kitten, telling him, "The foxes have decided. You are the one who must be sacrificed. Take this, quench the flames, and die for your fox kin." The fire was extinguished, but the kitten lived. It left that side of the mountain and found a little bird who had a broken wing. The two promised they would spend their whole lives together, but the little bird did not have long left to live. It passed away soon after. Never again would it cherish a single creature nor a single blade of grass that stood on that mountain. The kitten spent the nights wandering aimlessly, gnashing its teeth at the moon. How it wished to swallow the moon and devour the moonlight. If the world could only return to darkness, then it would finally be peaceful and content. I will become the new moon, the answer to everything. Then, no one will know that there were once birds, foxes, and cats in this world. And no one can know that they were different. We solved it! I remember now. This is not just the Balladeer's story. It is his very own memories. To become a god, he was experimented on and modified countless times. It was brutal torture, and the only reason he was able to survive is that he was a puppet. This memory was extracted from him by the scholars. Presumably, they kept it to have something to defend themselves with. Creating a deity was just the first step. Some of them wanted to be able to control it. That's why they backed up his memory for later use. I buried it deep inside one of my own dreams, and then hid it inside an allegorical story so that it wouldn't be altered.
It's hard to believe that this person really existed, let alone that he tried to get rid of us on more than one occasion. Paimon has no memory of him at all. He completely vanished like a puff of smoke.
The Balladeer agreed to help me look for information about the Descenders, and although he was unsuccessful, before he vanished, he confirmed an important detail, that Conria was where your twin first came into this world. We still don't know how the change to Irminsul will affect the senior ranks of the Fatui, but in all likelihood, they won't even remember their own Harbinger.
It sounds like Paimon wouldn't like this guy a whole lot if he was still around. But still, Paimon doesn't like the way it all ended.
This is why wisdom alone cannot answer all our questions. We look, we see, and we comprehend, but the question still troubles us, so the answer is not everything. People yearn to find the truth, and then when you give someone the truth, you give them a chance to choose their... To others looking on, this may seem like a pointless endeavor, but for him, the chance to never forget that even when we walk beneath dark clouds along a road filled with suffering, the light of wisdom is always there, guiding us toward a better destination. And that is what you have been doing all along.
Yeah, Nahida's
was right. Cheer up. How about we go get something to eat? We can pick up this heavy
Good idea. Paimon, why don't you take him out for a walk to clear his head?
You got it. Come on, traveler. You need to get out of your head for a while. You'll feel...